Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Friday, December the 1st. It's Advent calendar crashing day, Ryan. 24 sleeps and all that kind of caper, if that's what you're into. But yes, I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the X handle, Twitter handle, and I'm joined today by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay. How are you, sir? Did you get your chocolate out of the Advent calendar, did you?
Yes? I think I can hear Mariah Carey defrosting in the background. It's that time of year where you hear that song 24/7. Yeah, it's the 1st of December, but you know, it's Christmas time, which means festive schedule, which means lots of Celtic, so can't complain in that regard. It's the best time of the year for both football, sports in general, and the fact it's roundabout and near Christmas time. So looking forward to discussing the game at the weekend with you, Tony.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, so they tell me, Ryan, but I'm more of a fairy tale New York man, I have to say. And hat tip to the great man who sadly passed away yesterday. So
Absolutely.
There you have it. Yes, indeed. Yes, we'll be talking all sorts of football and festive football, St Johnston and all that. But first and foremost, we big up our sponsors and we say thank you, because the morning briefing is brought to you by MPH Group and their Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist covering all of mainland Scotland. And with winter rolling in, if you're thinking of giving your home heating system a boost, MPH has an enticing Navien Boiler Winter Promotion just for you. And if you opt for a Navien Boiler installation through MPH Boilers, not only are you choosing top-tier efficiency, but you're also getting a free Navien Internet Controller, and the little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And the cherry on top of that is that they're covering the first year service with no added costs. And the MPH even offer flexible finance options. So if you're gearing up for a winter chill, consider make a smart move with MPH and Navien, and you'll find all the links to MPH's social media sites, telephone number in the description of this video, and we thank them for their sponsorship. And as you can see from the graphic, time is running out. It's the final countdown, Ryan, for our best ever deal, subscription deal on the Celtic Way. £12 for 12 months of access to everything that we do on the website. It's the Black Friday deal, started last Friday. You've got until midnight tonight. Got to get involved in that, guys. Hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. We still think it's an incredible offer. So, few hours left, and you'll see ourselves on the social media plugging that particular deal today. So, have a go at that, guys. We thank people who have taken us up on that offer. We thank our existing subscribers. We can't do it without you. So, we say thank you for your continued contribution. So, there you have it, Ryan. The Black Friday deal, excellent, best ever deal we've offered.
Yep, £12 for 12 months equates to £1 a month, and that'll be you sorted until, if you subscribe today, you'll be sorted until December 2024 in that regard. So it's a really good offer. It means you're sorted. It means you don't have to pay anything else until this time next year. It's the best ever offer, as we spoke about. We've got a whole host of content on the site today. We've got Stuart Ross's piece on low blocks and why Celtic in particular struggle against teams that set up in this fashion. You know, there was a couple of games last season where it looked as if they'd solved the problem, but that problem has reared its ugly head once again. And also, there's an opinion piece on there that I constructed yesterday in your absence, Tony. I know you're the resident opinion or the resident hot taker.
Right.
I've heard of the Undertaker, but the hot taker, that's you. So I took the time to write a 1,500 word piece, basically on Mark Lawwell's time as the head of recruitment so far, and how I think mixed is maybe too polite a word for how it's went so far in terms of some of the signings. Yeah, so I've looked at that. I've looked at the players that he's signed in the 3 windows that he's been in charge of: summer of 2022, December of 2022 into winter, or January rather, and then the summer of 2023. He's been in charge of 3 windows now, and let's just say there's been a lot more hits than misses. All of them are available on the website. Those 2 pieces are available on the website. There'll be predicted 11s coming out today. There's a scouting report coming out tomorrow morning. Anything that you're looking for regarding Celtic, whether it's scouting pieces, analytical pieces, instant analysis following the games, Q&As that'll be coming out this afternoon, anything like that, that takes your fancy. It's all available on the Celtic Way website. Please subscribe. We implore everybody, if they've got the money to do so and they're in the right position, to please subscribe at www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. It would really do us a world of good. And it would really help us continue to do these free videos, both pre-recorded and live videos. So please get involved if you're interested. And yeah, thank you very much for listening to me.
Indeed. I thought we were going to burst into song there, calling me the hot taker. Here comes the hot taker. You know, you
that's went over my head, Tony, I'll be honest.
You don't remember that song? Here comes the hot stepper.
You see, remember, is I'm not gonna throw out a year in particular.
Google it.
Okay.
Okay. Uni Kamosi, I think you'll find probably the 90s Ryan. Right, okay. You'll know
it to forget the 90s, Tony. So
yeah, you have been, but you'll know it as soon as you hear it. All right, there you go. Yes, somebody there. Stephen Mixie, Tony seems happier today. Seemed a real down on Tuesday, like the rest of us, I suppose. Yeah. The nature of football is it's the next game. Indeed. And
I've got to mention, but we've got a very, very special announcement at the end of this video. It's a big announcement, guys. You will be the first to know before. You guys that are watching this video will be the first to know before we publicly announce it on our social media platforms. But let's just say it is a big, big move for the Celtic Way in terms of the video content. It's a real exciting. I was going to say changing of the guard, but it's like maybe more. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very, very exciting. Please tune in to the end of the video to find out what exactly we're talking about. But it's a game changer.
Yeah, in terms of just think signing windows. Yeah,
we've been proactive rather than reactive in the January transfer window. With this one, this is a big one, guys.
We did it in December, so we'll tease you with that, and we'll let you know in the fullness of time at the end of this video. I think it's fair to say that we're both excited about this, aren't we, Ryan?
Absolutely, very, very much so.
And
not to give too much away before the end of the video, but it is a big one.
Yeah, you guys will be excited by it too. So there you go. But we'll keep that under wraps for now. We'll talk nature of football, Ryan. Next game, back to the domestic bread and butter for Celtic, and it's McDermott Park on Sunday. Your old dad will be in freezing Perth to cover that, so looking forward to that. Celtic going up against a Craig Levein team. Craig Levein, the new manager of St Johnstone. I think we can expect a robust St Johnstone, can't we? For want of a better expression.
As well up front.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually took the time when he was announced as the St Johnstone manager to watch his first interview since joining the club. It wasn't the most positive thing. He was talking about how he didn't even know the players' names and stuff like that. But that's what you get with Craig Levein. He's one of Scottish football's characters, or one of the modern day characters. He's been in and around the punditry scene for a wee while now, but he's back in the hot seat. And you'd say it's in some respects for St Johnstone, you would say it's a bit of a safe signing. That's exactly what they need at this point, because they're in relegation bother. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes on, and I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will be looking forward to coming up against Craig Levein once again, because I think he would have came across him when he was manager of Hearts at that point. So he'll know all about him, and I'm sure the two of them will have a wee bit of a rivalry going on, which is great.
I think Celtic supporters have a love-hate relationship with Craig Levein, don't they? They kind of love to hate him, don't they? To be fair,
he's a character. And I think that's. I think with Scottish football, just as a general point, it's so important for Scottish football to have those characters, because there's got to be a selling point. Everybody knows the football isn't as good up here, or the quality of the standard isn't as high as it is down south. So Scottish teams in particular, they need to find other ways of marketing. And I think maybe not in the way that Craig Levein plays, but in the way that he carries himself in the media and that. He's always a character. You know, he's in and around the sports sound and stuff like that. I know he does the podcast as well, Sacked in the Morning. I hope hopefully for his sake he won't be living up to that title, but it's good to have a character like him back. It only accelerates the league, I would say. And he'll be looking to make McDermott Park a fortress starting on Sunday against Celtic. I'm sure it'll be a difficult game. As you said, a robust side. Craig Levein sides are always robust. and Celtic will have to be at their very best to get the 3 points, especially away from home. Good thing is it's a good surface, it's a good grass surface, so there shouldn't be any excuses with regard to a drop in quality, and the fact that Celtic have got some making up to do, because once again they're in a 2-match non-win run, winless run. That's the word that I was looking for in my head. I was thinking that a 2-match winless run, for Celtic, that constitutes a mini crisis. So they're going to need to get that right and make sure it's not free on the bounce.
You say things like that, Ryan, and I'm waiting in that moment in airplane when they say they've ran out of coffee and everyone panics. A 2-game winless run. Oh, one of the ones. Yes, Celtic need to get back to winning ways. Steve McGregor comes in. Morning, Steve. How you doing? Brendan and Craig have had a few dust-ups in the past, as I recall. They most certainly have. They'll be renewing hostilities on Sunday, seconds out, round, whatever it is. But look forward to that. Now, Ryan, the strap line on the title that you came up with this morning, well, Brendan Rodgers offers a start to Mikey Johnston on Marco Tilio this weekend. I'm taking it you're assuming that Lewis Palmer will come straight back into the side and play on one wing. Kyogo will be centre forward, and AN other up for grabs on the wide, on the other side. That was right hand side, won't it? So.
Yeah. I think it's very much up for grabs, that position on the right, because you assume that Palmer, maybe Palmer needed that week's rest from Saturday to Sunday, so it'll be over a week, it'll be 8 days to just sort of chill and get over his sort of Honduras escapades. Get brought back for the Motherwell game. Statistically, he was one of Celtic's best players on the ball when you look at on-ball values, as I did with the stats bomb report, but nothing really came off for him. But it was both wingers that were struggling in that game. Yang in particular really struggled. He struggled the past couple of games, which is why I would probably take him out of the firing line for this game and give somebody else an opportunity if he is fit. Now, I think it's more likely that Brendan Rodgers will go for Mikey Johnston to start the game, because he was talking to the media a couple of days ago. Usually you're looking for hints and clues as to who will start for Celtic in the upcoming games. The fact that Mikey Johnston was talking to the media would maybe make you think that he's going to have a bigger role in the team, which would be interesting. Out of the two, he's probably the more fitter as well. In fact, there isn't a doubt about that, because Tilio is just back from his injury. He's been trying to get to full fitness. He's trying to get to the physicality of the Scottish League as well. So if there's a game that Mikey Johnston is going to start, then I think it might be this one at McDermott Park. And I think he's taken a lot of flack, a lot of unjustified flack, especially after Tuesday night, when I thought he was the winger that Celtic. He was the winger at Celtic that was trying to do the most, and he looked the most positive. When he came on the park, he instantly beat a man. He looked direct. He looked up for the challenge. Yes, a lot of things didn't come off for him, but at the same time, he's trying. That's all you can ask for. And I think a lot of supporters, unfortunately, for one reason or another, and I know he's been up and down in his career so far, I think they've made their mind up about him already, and it's up to him to change that narrative. And he can do that by going back to that very place that he got injured all those years ago. I remember the conversation he had with Lennon after he continued to play on. I think the cameras caught that one. I think it was McDermott Park, wasn't it, that he pulled up? Remember, he kept on playing. He was injured, but he tried to play on, and then he aggravated his injury even worse. And that famous moment on the TV was captured. And that's really, it's been such a stop-start career for Johnston since then. But this could be the opportunity for him to go back to that ground and to show that he is ready to take that step into the first team. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he knows how to beat a man. And if he can bring that consistency that he's shown in the Republic of Ireland set up into Celtic, then he can be a valuable player going forward, at least until Abada returns.
I've got to be honest, I would be more inclined to play Tilio, see what Tilio brings to the table. I think we know what we get with Mikey Johnston, and he's had quite a lot of chances, but I'll agree with you the other night, at least he tried to make things happen. He couldn't, and
it's St Johnstone. I just looked up there, sorry.
For far too often, his final ball and his execution has always let him down. I've mentioned before the chance at Hampden for to score a second goal and make that cup final save. I think that's microcosmic of Mikey's career. He runs through and he puts it wide, and I guess that could happen to anybody. But I'm talking about he's had lots of moments like that in his Celtic career in terms of being given opportunity, and I never ever felt that he's grasped them. And I would like to see what Tilio brings, and I think this is as good as any to unleash somebody like that and go at St Johnstone, because I think Tilio's got some speed in his locker, hasn't he? From what we were told before. So, I saw that Mikey Johnston did some press as well, and he might well turn to him and ask him to perform. And he looked lively the other night, but it wouldn't have been hard because Yang and Forrest were pretty pitiful, weren't they? The other night in a must-win game. So I think Mikey did okay when he came on. At least he tried to be positive, and that was a good thing. But again, go back to the execution. More often than not, lets Mikey down, and that's just a bugbear of mine. I want to see evidence of a final product at some point, and I just don't see it with Mikey. He's got lots of tricks and bags of skill, and he can beat a man lovely, but no point in beating 2 or 3 players if you can't execute, at the end, having beaten 2 or 3 players lovely. And I just, he frustrates me. I've got to be honest. But, the manager, again, go back to it, sees them in training, and I saw his attitude against Lazio. So it's a big shout. I think you're right, that position is up for grabs. So we'll see what happens. But a few comments coming in, Ryan, so we'll take them. Thomas Gallagher, none of them. There you go.
We'll just play with 10 men then.
Thomas Gallagher, Forrest and Palmer out wide for him, he says. Hazel Finn says, need a good win on Sunday to blow away the Champions League disappointment and those cobwebs kickstart the December fixtures. When you go, Ryan, sorry.
One thing I would say is I think the days of starting James Forrest are over, unfortunately. I'm fine with him coming off the bench for 20 minutes, half an hour, but Celtic, they shouldn't be in a position where they're starting James Forrest in games nowadays. He's I don't want to see past it because that's unfair to a modern day great, and I don't want to put that sort of title on him or that, but he isn't the same player that he once was, and there's no doubt, even at McDermott Park, he had so many good games. I think that was was that the ground he scored 4 goals at?
Yeah, that was the ground he scored 4, yeah.
So, that might be in Brendan Rodgers' thinking as well, because he did that, because he played James Forrest against Lazio, maybe for the nostalgia and experience factor as well. You don't want that to come into every selection, but that could have been in his mind. For James Forrest, I'm fine with him being one of these players that is good around the dressing room, and he can come off the bench maybe as a goal threat for 10, 15 minutes. But when you're starting games, you've just got better options. I know injuries have meant that he has had more of a front-facing role in the starting lineup. But once Abada comes back, once you'd assume once Tilio's up to full speed, once Maeda's back, Palmer's, back. I know he's not been away, he was suspended, but once he's back into the team, as you'd expect he will be on Sunday, then you'd expect to see Forrest taking his place on the bench, or even then not in the squad whatsoever. He's definitely getting more game time than he did under Ange Postecoglou, that's for sure. Brendan Rodgers seems to like his trusted players. You can say the same for Callum McGregor, although he is the captain. It's somebody that you can trust. He's somebody that he's got a lot of faith in, but I just don't think his body has that level to bring in those good performances. As with any player around about 30, 31 years old, it's human nature. You're going to lose a yard of pace. You're going to lose that electrifying pace that got him in the team in the first place. That got him back in, 2009, 2010 time when he made his debut. I think that was under Neil Lennon when he was the caretaker manager. He just doesn't have that anymore, unfortunately. He's been such a great player for Celtic, but I think he's just got to be a bench option, and that's it from now on.
Fair enough. Dennis Jameson saying, let's put Tilio in from the start and give him a go. Stephen Mitzi saying, some choice, Yang, Johnson or Tilio, Devil of the Deep Blue Sea. And Blake Owen saying, I think with teams playing so defensive against Celtic, O's a better shout to start and be physical up top. And Hazel Finn, morning Hazel, how you doing? Think Brendan Rodgers will stick with Yang and use Tilio and MJ as subs. Yang has to be given game time to get over his Champions League performance. and Jerry O'Ross saying about Mikey Johnston, his final ball was not so good, but hey ho, and Dennis Jameson saying he agrees with your old da here. Let's give Tilio a shout. I'm inclining towards that option. Let's put it that way, but we shall see what.
That's the one that I would prefer to see. That's I've got to say that is the one that I would want to see. The only thing that's stopping me from putting him straight into the starting 11 is his fitness. You know, let's be honest. He was brought on with 7 minutes to go. He was brought on in the 93rd minute. So, you know, that shows you when Celtic were chasing a goal, you know, they were chasing a goal for a lot of time in that game. It wasn't just, you know, they brought him on when it was 1 each. They were chasing the game until, what was it? Turnbull scored in like the 86th, 87th minute of the game. So for a lot of that, they could have called upon him. The thing is, they didn't. They didn't call him until it was an emergency, until they had to bring on a wide player. No, actually, it was until Yang got injured and he couldn't physically continue because he thought he'd pulled his hamstring. Turns out he played in the other games, so it was just maybe just a tweak or something that would affect him for a day. So I'm interested to see where he is on in terms of his fitness. How much does he have in the tank to play? Which is why I would probably go for somebody like Mikey Johnston to begin with. You know, see if it works, throw the dice a wee bit with regard to him, and if it doesn't work for the last 20 minutes, you bring on Marco Tilio, just as a fitness aspect. If everybody was fully fit, you know, from the options that Celtic have got, then I would want to see Tilio starting the game.
I'm inclined to go the other way and give Tilio as long as he can to prove his fitness and see what he's got. And if he is burst after 45 minutes, then bring on Mikey Johnston. You know what Mikey Johnston's got. I just think Tilio's he's an unknown quantity, and it gives St Johnstone more to think about. Because I think if you play Mikey Johnston, then St Johnstone will know what to do with Mikey. And I say I'd rather the element of surprise with Tilio. You don't know what you're going to get. Even the Celtic supporters don't know what they're going to get with Tilio. So I would like it to be a pleasant surprise. But you've got Mikey Johnston there, and also you've got Yang there too. I just thought Yang and Forrest were largely anonymous, weren't they, the other night, which was pretty disappointing because you're asking them to offer a bit more. And so we shall see. But Celtic's record at McDermott Park is decent, you know. But again, they're coming off the back of another European match, big disappointment. So they need to raise the spirits quickly, Ryan. They need to raise a gallop and get the Celtic supporters back on side, because I think a lot of them, as I said the other day, a lot of them will start to panic if it's 0-0 at half time, won't they, at McDermott Park? And they'll, you know, but, you know, Celtic need to get back on the domestic saddle and quickly, don't they, basically?
It's not just the scoreline as well. I think it's the performance as well, because there's a lot of murmurings over the past couple of games. You know, the Lazio game, Celtic were in the game for so long, but they didn't really create anything. They created a couple of half chances that good strikers put away, as you've seen with Ciro Immobile, although maybe his weren't half chances. By the time he gets that area in the box, that's a big chance for him. You know, you look at the two Kyogo chances, maybe even look at Mikey Johnston's chance towards the end. Better players can sometimes put these away. Not to say that Kyogo isn't a good player, he is a very good player, but he lacked that, I don't know, he lacked that patience in front of the goal and that calmness in front. I don't know why, because, you know, maybe that's because he's starved in the formation and you're not getting the best out of him. So he's got so much pressure when he does get a chance, because he knows he's only going to get 2 or 3 in the game and he's got to make them count when they arise. The fact he isn't getting 6 or 7 shots at goal per game means that there's pressure on him to take those 1 or 2 chances when they do come along. That'll be in his head mentally. He won't mean it, but in his head he'll be thinking, I've got to take these chances or the team's going to suffer as a result. Was unlucky with the second one. The first one he should have done better with, but at the end of the day, it's still a defeat. I'm just thinking, it's the performance has to be better on Sunday. You know, Celtic should be beating St Johnstone. I know they've not got they've got no divine right to win any game. You know, they've got to really work for their performance. They've got to work for their win. But there's got to be a good performance on Saturday, because there's a few too many grumblings.
We're going to have to work on Sunday, Ryan, because you know the way St Johnstone are going to set up. They're going to try and negate you and stifle you, and stifle your creative players. and your better players. So Celtic are going to have to work hard on Sunday for any kind of victory. So I think you strap yourself in for that. Stephen Kelly, what do you think of this, Ryan? What's your thoughts, Tony? Surely we should go 3-5-2 Sunday. Would you go 3-5-2, Ryan?
No, it's not. It's not the place to do it away from home. It's why throw the cat amongst the pigeons in an away game when Celtic have just got to work through this slump that they're on at the moment, and I think they'll do that by playing the same formation. They've got to get the play. If you're going to make changes like that, then honestly, I would wait until January and do it against Bucky Thistle. If you've got any experimentation, if you want to change about the team, then start it maybe at the warm or the. I know they won't be going to Dubai in January or a warm training camp, but if they've got that winter break, once they come back, they can maybe work on different positions or different formations. But at the moment, I think they've just got to stick with the same formation and just see it through and get to grips with it, because it's free. It's 4-3-3. It's the same that Ange Postecoglou played. The only difference is the wingers, the fullbacks don't really invert as much. They're more traditional fullbacks, which is hurting Greg Taylor. As a result, it's probably hurting Alistair Johnston as a result too. They were used to the Ange system. Now that Ange is away, they need to go back to traditional right backs. I know Alistair Johnston was more of a traditional one than Taylor was. That formation will be quite, new to them, because it would have been intensive for the 6 months that Ange was there from January to the summer. In the case of Alistair Johnston, even more so for Greg Taylor, because Ange was there for the 2 seasons. He'll have been used to playing as an inverted fullback. The fact that he's had to revert back to a traditional role will be very, very difficult. In short, and I know it was just a quick answer you were looking for, but I've given you a full spiel. No, I wouldn't be changing the formation for this weekend, especially against McDermott Park. Celtic are going to have a lot of the ball at the weekend, you would assume. A low block is coming, and it's all about how Celtic challenge that and get the better of that. So, yeah, I'd probably stick with the 4-3-3 at the moment. But if it's still not working in the next couple of games, then I think there'll be more scope to change it, to be honest.
Gordon Coney says he disagrees. To change is what Celtic are doing is not working. You mentioned a word slump there, 2-game slump, I think you're referring to. Is it a slump? Because basically 3 games ago, Celtic were hammering Aberdeen 6-0. They're still unbeaten in the league. Yep, they dropped points against Motherwell that they probably shouldn't have, and there was a pretty insipid performance against Lazio in a must-win Champions League game. I know exactly where you're coming from. I'm just asking if that's strong. A very strong word you mentioned there, slump.
See Claire in the comments is calling me negative. I think that's the first time anybody's called me negative with regard to Celtic in my life. So I'll take some sort of difference with that. I'll take that as a compliment.
I wasn't going to bring that. Yeah, okay, right, fine.
I think 2 games in a row where Celtic have not played well is a slump, because you look at the time that's passed. It was 2 weeks since the Aberdeen game. It's difficult to maintain that form when you've been away with international duty. You've got players on the other side of the world playing football. You get Callum McGregor playing every minute for Scotland, it seems like. So it's difficult to maintain that form because you're away from the team for so long. You come back, it's a completely different atmosphere. Yes, you're coming off the back of a good win, but circumstances have changed. You might have knocks from international duty. There might be some changes in the training. So for the past couple of games against Motherwell and against Lazio, there is a slump. They haven't been playing as well as what we know that they can do. And it's up to Celtic at the weekend to rectify that and get back to the way that they played. Because, when you're looking at the performances this season, there's been a lot more mixed ones than positive ones, I would say. I'm not going to say those poor performances, because in some games Celtic were comfortable and they win games, but I don't just look at wins, I look at performances as well. I know the most important thing is the win in the top left-hand corner on the scoreboard. Yeah, absolutely. But performances, some of them haven't been up to scratch. You look at the games against Kilmarnock was good. Aberdeen was very good. You look at those 2 games, they stand out as real
Hearts
good
was excellent at time.
Hearts was good as well. Yeah, that was a good run of games.
Rangers was good at Ibrox.
It was a good defensive performance, especially in the second half. First half, they showed their threat, especially on the counter. Yeah. There was a lot of factors going into that game as well. No fans, a makeshift defence, which in turn, one of the members became the normal member of the defence thanks to his performance and skills. But yeah, I think the past couple of games just haven't been up to standard, and it's up to
I
scratch.
agree.
It's up to Brendan
I
Rodgers
wasn't putting
to
you on the
change it.
spot by.
No.
I was being devil's advocate. I know exactly what you mean. The performance has not been good enough the past 2 games, so you can interpret that way whatever you want. But for Celtic and the bar being set so high, then yeah, it's a slump in their terms, in the way in what they would want, or the end results of both of those games. Motherwell performance. We have seen 3 performances like that this season, which is why Celtic aren't perfect in the league, Ryan. And the manager alluded to that before the Motherwell game, saying he felt that they should have been 13 out of 13, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So it was eating away at him and irking him. So last week would have irked him even more, because Celtic were pretty poor last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no getting away from that. And and in midweek, in a must-win game, even your captain said there comes a point where you have to go and win that match. So when did Celtic reach that point? When did the players switch on and realise that and actually go and do that? Because they didn't, did they? And then get caught by the 2 late sucker punches, which we all kind of felt was coming anyway, because it's Celtic away in Europe. But at no point was there real urgency to go and win that game against a Lazio team who will say that were there for the taking. So there has to be a change tomorrow. There has to be an upturn in terms of your performance. And if there's an upturn in terms of your performance, then I'm sure the result will follow. But it can't be allowed to continue the way it has the past 2 games. And I think that's what the commenters are saying. So what has to change? Is it the formation that's going to change? Is he going to play 2 up top? Is he going to bring in Johnston or Tilio? No, there's something has to give here. So we're throwing these out to be, debated in an adult fashion, and we won't always agree with each other and on our thoughts. But what we all agree on is that Celtic have to be better on Sunday, and they're going to be in a robust challenge to win all 3 points on Sunday. And I think they have to meet that head on, and the manager will be well aware of that, won't he?
Yeah, I think what I would say is that if Celtic don't pick up maximum points at the weekend, then
it's a confirmed slump. It's a confirmed slump.
It's a crisis then, because Celtic will have been dropping points in 2 successive games. Celtic, with the profits that they've got, and this is just talking about balance sheet, and I know balance sheets, and I've made this point that they don't ensure victories, or they don't make sure
they don't play goalkeeper or left back.
No, they don't play goalkeeper
or
left
back,
back,
do they?
but it would be underperforming, and then you would take that back to the board and the recruitment that's went there, because if you can't get a result against St Johnstone away from home, a team where it seems as if most teams have got results off of St Johnstone this year, look at their position in the table, then I think people would be well within their rights to be concerned at where the season is going. You look at the European performance, the League Cup performance, then the league form would start. But this is all hypotheticals. We're trying to preview the St Johnstone game, go into it with a good performance, and make sure that these conversations that we're making hypothetically don't happen in reality. Yeah, it's so important. But I think there's a couple of positions that are up for grabs, and I know we'll be doing our predicted lineups, but I think this is a good time to talk about them, to be honest. I think the midfield is going to be interesting.
Midfield, are you thinking?
For me, Turnbull's got to start in this game. I've got to be honest. Look at his goal record. He scored in the last 4 games. I think it's impossible to deny him a start at this point. He's Celtic's top goal scorer in the Scottish Premiership. Against a low block in particular, you need a guy that's going to be able to shoot from outside the box. So far, I've seen a couple of shots from Odin Thiago Holm, a couple of good saves from the respective goalkeepers. David Turnbull, the proof is in the pudding. He scores goals from outside the box. When you get him in that sweet spot in the semicircle just outside the box, if he unleashes a shot, more often than not, it is going to go in the back of the net. So I think in terms of goal scoring, and Celtic have been struggling with goal scoring a wee bit in the past couple of games, they need to bring on somebody that knows where the back of the net is. And Turnbull definitely knows that as another striking option, but he's deployed in midfield as the number 10.
going to flick this up, right? Claire, you have nothing to apologise for. Ryan was just addressing a comment that you made. He's not offended. Like myself, he's got thick skin because it goes with a thick head and all that kind of stuff, all right? So don't apologise. You're entitled to your opinion as well, all right? So I agree that we all agree that we want to get Celtic back to where they belong, challenging in all competitions. That's exactly what we all want. And you don't have to apologise for giving an opinion. We address them, even if it is not what we like to read or see or hear. But Ryan's addressed that. And I think he covered that well. He's one of the most infectious and enthusiastic people about Celtic. So, he doesn't take offence. As you I don't think either of us take offence to people disagreeing with us. It's what it's
what
about.
I will do,
which is why
I will call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
when
and it's why we
Celtic
give
aren't playing well,
yeah.
then I think you've got to call it out. It's not a slight against the club or anything like that or anything personal. It's just going by the form book. If Celtic aren't playing to the levels that they're playing, and the amount that players are getting paid every week to do those performances, then I think you're quite right to call it out. But it's because, and it's not entitled, and that phrase gets kicked about a lot, especially with younger fans, I would say. I think it's just a winning mentality. We've grown up with success.
You people, Ryan, you younger fans, is that what it is? You're spoiled. Is that what it is? You weren't around in the 90s, man. You weren't there.
You get the 2020, 21 handbook
out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just think it's a winning mentality, and the supporters or the younger supporters are just trying to uphold that and keep that going. It's basically all that we've known since we started supporting Celtic, and we want to keep that going. We wouldn't want anything different with regard to the club. So if Celtic aren't playing to the standards that we know that they can get to, then I think you've got every right to call it out. The other way about, if they're playing well, everybody knows I'll be the first person to say how well they're playing. Everybody knows that I wax lyrical when Celtic play well. Just look back to the post-match after the Aberdeen game. How many times did I say the word Palma in that post-match? I would have been going on about him for ages. But I just think at the moment, Celtic are in a bit of a slump with their last two performances. They've got a great chance on Sunday to make things right on a good surface. Hopefully it's not frozen or waterlogged or anything like that. If they're there for the game and Brendan Rodgers names a strong team and they go to the levels that we expect them to, and we know that they can go to, then I think they'll be absolutely fine.
And we're a broad church, Claire. We welcome everybody. All opinions are welcome, and we try and read them out as many as we can. So we thank you for tuning in and joining in and giving your opinion as well. Steve McGrory, it's no coincidence that Matt and Kyogo have dipped in form and the team has as a consequence. They were both very good at the start of the season and scored most of Celtic's goals. Others need to step up. I think I totally agree with that, and also agree with the midfield could be interesting on Sunday. We'll see your thoughts on that. You've said you're saying the Bull, so you taking McGregor, O'Reilly as red, and the Bull, or are you throwing a curveball in there?
I think if Callum McGregor wasn't a captain, his place would be under threat.
Yes, we have spoken about this. The white elephant in the room that the Celtic skipper has fallen.
He has not been firing on all cylinders this season.
Yeah,
and I think the negative results have caused a spotlight to go on him. In that number 6 role, it's so important that he connects the defence in the midfield and in the midfield to the attack. That's how it works, or to the wide positions as well. But our Celtic's wide players are basically auxiliary forwards. They get goals and assists, or they should do anyway. Callum McGregor, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a decline in his game, a natural decline, or it's the system not working out for him, because he was so good under Brendan Rodgers the first time. It was Brendan Rodgers that effectively elongated his Celtic career thanks to giving him a new lease of life. I remember making a particular appearance, and I've spoken about this before. Scott Brown was either injured or suspended in one game. He put McGregor on, and he was the man of the match on that day. And then ever since then, he's been pretty much a consistent starter for Celtic. For whatever reason, he hasn't.
He's played every game since, I think, hasn't he? Or more or less.
I just think that he's not hitting the levels that are expected of him for whatever reason. And to be fair, he's had some good performances from Scotland in between. Maybe he's playing a bit further forward or in more of a free role. Maybe that could be something that Brendan Rodgers looks at. But now there's 2 managers in a row that haven't played him further forward. Is there more to this than meets the eye? Or is it just the fact that there's nobody else in that position and Callum McGregor's got to just take it as the number 6, put himself in that role, and then the other players have got to be more forward thinking? Either way, I think there's more to come from Callum McGregor. You would hope an upturn in form, because I remember when Ange Postecoglou first came to the club, particularly in the home games, when everybody was just getting back in the grounds after COVID, Callum McGregor was man of the match in most games. Kyogo was the standout player. Ryan Christie had a couple of really good games too. But there was a whole new lease of life from Callum McGregor, the way he was zipping about the pitch. I just think his minutes might need to get managed. Celtic have got to pick and choose what games he should be starting and what games potentially Iwata should be starting, or somebody else, maybe even Matt O'Reilly is that number 6. I think he could play further back. I think he's good enough, he's tall enough, and he's physical enough. He's got a good tackle on him too.
Lots of comments coming in about that, Ryan. So Patrick McLaughlin saying we can try O'Reilly deeper and push Callum Mac up beside Turnbull for a change. Jerry O'Ross saying the same thing, that Callum McGregor needs to play in a more forward position. And Dennis Jameson saying Callum Mac should be playing further up, maybe have Iwata at the number 6. And Patrick McLaughlin comes back and says he was a roaming playmaker under Ange. Under Brendan Rodgers, he's been converted into defensive midfielder. And Maestro saying Iwata should be getting a chance. And Claire Best coming back at us and saying, thanks guys, great conversation this morning, I had a laugh. What I do think Celtic are missing is Georges Giacomakis big time. Not the Georges Giacomakis conversation. Again. But yeah, you're probably right, Claire. We've seen it for a while, we are listening. But yeah, I think I do think there's a conversation to be had about Callum McGregor in terms of managing his minutes, possibly rotating him, or bringing in Iwata to play the number 6 role and giving him a shot. And as I say, rotating Callum Mac and giving him a rest, because, he has played an incredible amount of football for one person. And, he is playing further forward for Scotland, isn't he? And he looks a better player in that setup, doesn't he? And
that should never be the case, because it should be the opposite. A player shouldn't be as good because they play less games for Scotland over the course of the season. That very much is. I know there's some players it looks as if they play more games for Scotland than they do for their actual club team. But Callum McGregor plays every game for Celtic, therefore he should be in a better vein of form than what he currently is. He's very much a trusted part of Steve Clarke's Scotland squad. There's no doubt that he'll get called up for the Euros in the summer, which means he'll have even less of a break in the summer, which is not ideal in Celtic's case. You hope for the best of the Scottish national team, but with a Celtic hat on, you want him to be getting more of a break. But yeah, it's an interesting one, because how good Callum McGregor can be. He showed it against Rangers this season, how good he can be. But those performances have been few and far between, in part down to the fact that Matt O'Reilly has been standing out. Haggerty was standing out in those couple of games before he got injured, which then maybe he became he took a back seat with regard to the midfield. But now that those players are away, or maybe that they've dipped off form, Matt O'Reilly's not had a good couple of games, now that they're a bit off the boil, I think there's maybe more eyes on Callum McGregor as the captain to make things happen. The fact that hasn't transpired has meant that there's a bit of criticism going his way. No player is exempt from criticism, but you just know there's a good player in Callum McGregor, and you're just hoping he can turn it around quickly.
Brian McGinty says Callum Mac further up the park and play Bernardo more. Now, you were really impressed with Bernardo the other night, and you mentioned that. Does he play himself into contention for Sunday, or you're kind of cards out on the table? You said the Bull plays, didn't you? You said Turnbull. I'm assuming you meant Turnbull alongside Callum McGregor and O'Reilly. Could be wrong. You might call in your starting 11 and put Bernardo in there for Callum Mac, something like that. I don't know. Unless
he changes Matt O'Reilly for Bernardo, I don't know. That he exerted a lot of energy against Lazio. He definitely covered the ground a lot. It was more his work off the ball rather than on the ball that I was praising, to be honest.
Yeah.
he's on one of those sort of Wicastle sort of deals where I never really see him domestically, but I see him all the time when he's playing in Europe. Remember Wicastle used to play every Europa League game for
I
Celtic,
remember
and then you would
Castle,
never see him domestically. I bet you didn't expect me to mention Mubarak Wicastle in this podcast today.
No, I didn't, but there you go.
That's a throwback to any of the Ronnie Dyler fans out there. First season,
he scored a belter in the Europa League, if I remember
against Salzburg.
rightly.
Yes, easy cutter.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful goal. Yeah, he flattered to deceive in a lot of games, but
correct.
I think with Bernardo, you want to see more of an impact domestically. Yes, he's shown that he can pressure the ball, he can pressure off the ball in Europe, but you want to see him step up and really make himself a must-buy for Celtic. You know, he's in the shop window. If he plays well and there is that option to buy inserted into his deal, we know there is. They mentioned it when he signed. You want that to be like a non-starter in terms of a conversation, but a non-starter in a good way, because it means that you're just going to go and sign the player. He's been so good. He's integrated well. You don't need to integrate him again in the summer. But at the moment, I don't think anybody would sign him just due to the fact that he's not really stood out in enough games.
I don't think there's enough sample size to make any real judgment. He plays in Europe and he's shown up okay, and it's very, very stop-start, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Maestro 95 saying Bernardo did well, but David Turnbull has the shot on him. And Marquis coming in and saying Bernardo looks a player in the making. He still has a couple of kinks needed worked out in his game. He's passing accuracy, shielding the ball from opposition, much like most of our players. Now, I touched upon that the other night, that I thought he could beat a couple of players lovely. And again, it was the final execution, of 6-yard diagonal passing and stuff like that. And he did the hard bit, a bit like Mikey Johnston in that sense. And he was frustrating the life out of me. And I like you, I was impressed by what he brought to the table, and I think there's a player there, but I don't think he's making that decision or Celtic's mind up right now in terms of we must go and buy him, in the terms of like Jota did, the option to buy, and you were just like, after a few games, Celtic need to buy this guy. Bernardo, you're kind of like, you're on the fence with it at this minute in time, and again, he needs more game time, more samples, a bigger sample size for you to make any kind of reasoned and sound judgment, because he's played in fits and starts and you've thought, he does that well, doesn't do that so great, that kind of thing. So, again, but you find it hard to see where he fits in on Sunday, don't you?
Yeah, although he did start against Ross County as well, and I thought he was okay in that game. He was trying to be as industrious as he could, and that was in place of Matt O'Reilly. And he's one of these players that I think he's better when Matt O'Reilly isn't on the pitch, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Probably down to the eye test, for the fact that they look so similar when you're watching them from afar. They both get the socks pulled down, they both get the long brown hair, the fuzzy hair. They're both quite tall in stature as well. So you get mixed up with the two of them, but I think the two of them go in the same areas as well. I think if you were to have one or the other, then they would have a better performance rather than the two of them being in each other's way. We've seen the same for Odin Thiago Holm last weekend against Motherwell, because he was getting into Matt O'Reilly's areas. Matt O'Reilly's been the standout player this season, or one of them in the midfield, or he's been the standout midfield player for Celtic this season. So when a player is going into the same positions as him and maybe not getting that spacing, and in turn affecting Matt O'Reilly's performance, then you're maybe grudged to putting them into the team, because you're not gonna drop Matt O'Reilly unless there's a further drop in form. With Bernardo, I don't really know. I don't think anybody really expects him to start at the weekend, and it's a bit of a weird one. Although stranger things have happened, I don't think anybody knows who's going to start at the weekend. We've not even spoke about at the back either. Not to change the position or anything, or the formation, or the players that we're talking about. But as Sunday,
I know where you're going with this.
It's Sunday Navrovsky time.
You want Navrovsky for Scales, aren't you?
4.5. Well, either Scales or Carter Vickers, one or the other. I just want to see Navrovsky, the player that you've spent the most money on in the transfer window. You're hurting an asset here. I know that Scales has been playing well, but he did not have a good game the other night against Lazio. He get bullied for the second goal, unfortunately. So it could be a chance to not drop him, because there's that Sunday then Wednesday against Hibs at home. not to drop him, but just to rotate the team. You can maybe throw Scales in at the week in the midweek game, but put Nawrocki back in that team.
You can
I want
call
to see it happen.
You can call it rotation if you want. If you're bringing Mike Nawrocki in for Scales, you're dropping Scales or axing Scales. You can call it rotation all you like, sir. I'm not having that. You're dropping them or axing them. So it just depends if he's got enough credit in the bank from what he's played so far this season to allow for what happened on Tuesday night. But he did get bullied for that second goal. He was quite weak. People claiming a foul. You've got to be more robust and strong there. I know you're an advocate of Nawrocki, so I knew that was coming in your thinking. So our manager's got a real selection dilemma. And I mean dilemma because, normally you would think great, healthy competition for pre-season and all that. But if he's bringing in these guys that we've touched upon and spoken about, he's bringing them in for a reason because there's something no functioning. And it's no function the past couple of games. And Celtic need to do something to address that. You said the slump before it becomes a full-blown crisis if Celtic go 3 games, but you're preempting something that's not already happened yet. But there would be questions asked if it did. And I think the team selection on Sunday is vitally important and will show you exactly what the manager is doing to address the fact that they've not turned up. They never turned up against Motherwell and never forced the issue in a must-win Champions League game against Lazio, which, to all intents and purposes, was there for the taking.
Yeah,
and I think people would agree with that, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it certainly was there for the taking, and they didn't take it. It's probably a wider issue, to be honest, in terms of the signings as well. That the players that were coming onto the pitch didn't really affect the game in that regard. But yeah, it's all geared up towards the weekend. Celtic have got to get back to winning ways, one way or the other. It doesn't matter how they win at the weekend. All that matters is that in the top left-hand scoreline, Celtic have more goals than St Johnstone. It'll be very, very interesting to see what team is picked. Obviously, we will have our predicted 11s to come in the coming hours, or maybe we'll leave them until tomorrow because it's a Sunday game. So that'll probably be one of the drops tomorrow. It will be interesting to see Brendan Rodgers' team for that. I think there will be a couple of changes. I think there'll be a couple of surprises as well. I think the dice have to be rolled in regard to some positions. There's going to have to be some rotation. You're going to need to have Lewis Palmer back. There needs to be a change in the midfield. I would assume defence there could be changes. Could even go with O up front. Although I think Hugo needs to stay in the team and continue to score goals. But it's up to the manager, and we'll find out about 10:45 on Sunday morning what the manager is going with. But until then, we can speculate and talk about all the hypotheticals and the potentials. It's that 10:45. We'll be waiting for it on Sunday morning.
Ryan Warrior, no happy to the thought of Scales being dropped, Ryan. Scales found out with the Lazio lesson, and all of a sudden he's getting dropped.
That is actually a very, very good comparison because I would liken the two. And because
no, it was you that said Mike Nawrocki, not me. That was you were.
I was talking about the Lazio Larson, and I'm not comparing them to Larson as the player, but
yes.
200 goals. A bit of a journeyman. Henrik Larsson played for a couple of teams before going to Celtic. So did Ciro Immobile. He played for quite a few teams, Dortmund, Sevilla. Found a home at Lazio and he stayed there for the best part of a decade now. So, yeah, I quite like that comparison from Brown Warrior, I'm being honest.
He comes back in and says Immobile's been handing centre-backs to Richie all through his career. Scales isn't the first and won't be the last, and he's directed that at me. That's fine. Listen, I just know that Ryan's an advocate of playing Mike Nawrocki because he wants to see a £4.5 million defender play. So I'm not in the drop Scales camp right now. I think he has enough credit in the bank. He has amassed enough credit. And yeah, that could happen to any footballer against a footballer of that calibre. I just thought Immobile was very, very cute. I'm just asking Scales to be a bit more robust and a bit stronger and not go down so easily in that kind of situation. But as Brown Warrior points out, Immobile's been doing that to defenders all of his career. So I'm not coming down heavily on Scales at all. I just at times, I just think Celtic are architects of their own downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the killer goal. You know, if you stand up big, and I'm not saying he would have won the duel with Immobile in that situation, but I don't think he gave himself the best chance to do that. And to me, he fell to the floor pretty weakly. And from then on, you knew exactly what was happening. Immobile turned Carter Vickers inside out and they just planted it past Joe Hart. So it's fair enough. But no, I'm not. We play devil's advocate at times, don't we? But I think Scales has been excellent so far. So I think Mike Dabrowski, for me, has to wait until Brendan Rodgers decides. But he might well decide that Sunday is his moment. Stephen Mitchell could easily have been judged a foul. It could have been, Steve, but it wasn't. That's my point. You know, so and Brian McGinlay saying Scholes has been Celtic's best defender so far this season. I don't think you'll get many complaints there. And Brown Warrior come back and saying he made a mistake and he's got punished, no doubt. But so long as he learns from that, that's what matters. And I think you have to give players the opportunity to learn from mistakes. I'm big on that. You've got the yellow jersey until you really make a rickets of it. So Marquis coming in and saying he immobily fouled Scholes, but he was fly about it. We shoulder nudged the Scales' chest as he left the ground. Then done something. They've done something similar to other players in the area. But again, it's that streetwise and being cute and knowing what to do in those situations and getting
the wiry old fox.
Yes, Steve McGrory, CCV was pulled through at the goal. I thought he was as well. He allowed himself to be turned inside out, Steve. So, yeah, I totally agree. I just think from the moment Scales falls to the floor, it's poor as the ball's in the air. Poor attempt at trying to win it. And then once Immobile's got the ball under control, he knows what he's doing. But absolutely. I think the two central defenders didn't cover themselves in glory in that situation. It's been, it's gone, it's done. So we let it go. And Lovett comes in. Come on, Tony. CCV caused us the second goal at Parkhead and Taylor makes mistakes every game. Big Scales has been very good all season. I'm not having a go at him. I'm the very man that said he should be staying in the team. So I'm just pointing out.
Does it Lovett wants to drop Vickers instead of Scales?
Possibly. And then that's another conversation that you could have, because I think it's fair to say that Cameron Carter-Vickers is another one that slipped below the high bar that he set.
Yeah.
So you could have conversations about a lot of the players. So I'm not...
Especially when he's missing one of the best defenders in La Liga next to him in Starfelt. Not my words, it's the statistical facts that he's playing out his skin for Celta Vigo. About he wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but he seems to be Rafa Benitez's cup of tea at Celta Vigo. So fair play to him.
Stephen Missy, why do you not like Scales? Tony laugh out loud. I think you'll find Tony's the guy that did the rise of Liam Scales. So he's like bigging him up, speaking to former coaches. It's on the website. You can see that. So I think people are at it now saying, Tony, why do you hate Scales so much? Yeah, there you go. I'll go with this one. Brown Warrior knows his onions. Iron caused this.
Yeah. Causing it since I joined. But we've been going for 58 minutes and we've got an announcement to make.
Go on, Ryan. You tell the people.
I don't know. I feel like because I've said to everybody that we're going to announce it on here, and I wanted to announce it on social media, but we might as well give a sneak peek as to our newest contributor to the Celtic Way video briefings. He's been gone for a while. You'll all know him very, very well from other Celtic podcasts and Celtic fan media sites. We're delighted to say that Hamish Carton, formerly of 67 Hail Hail, will be the new host starting on Monday for the morning briefing. It's a very big day for the Celtic Way and the Celtic Way's videos in particular. We're delighted to have Hamish join us. He's been away for a wee while. We know that he's based in Melbourne in Australia. I was trying to think of as many puns as I could with regard to that. I know you mentioned Perth at the start. I was going to do a wee Perth Melbourne thing, but it was best to just come out and say it. It's Hamish Carton as the new host of the Celtic Way starting on Monday. So that's a quick sneak peek. I'll announce it all on Twitter as well. But yeah, big news, Tony.
Oh, listen, we are delighted that we've managed to land a coup in Hamish. It's talk about transfer signings. Hamish is just one of them. Let's be honest, we've wanted to get him for a while, haven't we?
We've done our business early in January.
We've done our
I think this is the signing of the transfer window. To be honest with you,
we wanted him because we think he'll add a lot to the platform, and before MD Ash, nobody's getting relegated.
That's the thing. Jerry Smith's asking who is leaving. Nobody is leaving. It's going to be a 3-man show.
We are trying to grow this, and because of subscriptions and sponsorship, this is the kind of thing that we're trying to do. We're trying to give you something back as well. So we're trying to make the Celtic way the best that it possibly can, and that we see this as a step forward. And this is something that's been on our mind for a while, and this is why we've implored you to subscribe to the channel, because we are trying to give you VFM, as we say, value for money. And he's not on loan; he's on board because we've done our due diligence, and we have worked on this deal for a long, long time, guys.
Absolutely.
It's been in the pipeline, and if you're asking me, how positive and excited have I been about this, Ryan? And I've never met Hamish, and I've never spoken to him. I've had DM conversations with him, and I've told him we'll get along famously, and I'm just so happy. On this channel, we've said before, anybody that comes on as a contributor or appears in it, we never see them as any kind of threat. We see them as somebody. We it is the old cliche, but everybody's part of this Celtic family, and nobody's more excited about Hamish coming on than Ryan and myself, because it's something we're very proud of, that it's something that's come to fruition, and I don't think there'll be a better signing of anybody out there in podcast land than Hamish Carton coming to the Celtic way. And we did it not for ourselves, but we did it for you guys as well, because we feel that it's something that can take the channel to, as everybody says, that fabled next level. And that's what we want to do. We know you guys enjoy the content, and we think that this will enhance the content and move the podcast forward even more. And yeah, Brown Warrior, can I have a gig too? Sorry, admittedly I've only ever run piece of journalism, and that was eventually in 1984. Stick around, Brown Warrior. I won't be around forever. So there you go. But yeah, Hamish is good. Like watching Hamish and Hail. Well done, lads. Miss Big Hamish. Yep. Listen, we from Monday onwards, Hamish Carton will be joining us. So listen, it's something that we've kept it under wraps deliberately, right? Because of that very reason. Lots of people have worked hard to make this happen, and listen, we're excited here. It's something that we think will propel us further forward, and hopefully you guys show that kind of loyalty that he shows by keep subscribing, and we reckon that that's another reason why people should take up the best ever deal, because we try and give you the best ever deal, and the best of us try and bring our A game, and Hamish will enhance that. We believe, Tim, it's all about quality. Well, there's Ryan. Anything to add to that?
If I don't sneeze, I caught my sneezing there, thankfully. No, delighted to have Hamish on board. I was on his previous channel for a time as well, so I've worked with him previously. It'll be great to have him. Not often that you'll say you're looking forward to a Monday, but I certainly am for this to see this time. It'll be the three of us on Monday morning discussing the St Johnstone game. That'll be after you and I are talking post-match about the St Johnstone game as well. You from Perth, or maybe from your car. I don't know exactly, but we'll be talking about it at some point.
Somewhere, yeah.
I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. I think this is a real coup for the podcast in the morning briefing, and I'm looking forward to seeing to seeing how this grows, organically grows and makes it into the best possible version that it can do. Hamish is brilliant. He's a great contributor. We're glad to have him on board. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting started. Roll on Monday.
The three amigos, Ryan, and we can argue the toss over who's who. But I'll go Di Canio, right? Because I'm kind of volatile on Friday one, I guess. There you go. You two can argue over Van Hooydonk and Cadete. Nah. Listen, it's Monday can't come quick enough, but we have a game to negotiate on Sunday as well.
Totally.
We'll look forward to that result, dependent, and you're hoping it's a happy Monday.
Yeah, and I've realised this podcast has been going for an hour and 5 minutes now. So, but we had a couple of things to announce. We had to talk about the Black Friday, and we also had to talk about the big announcement of Hamish joining the podcast. So, yeah, very exciting times. And
we hope that announcement lived up to its billing, guys. We think it most certainly will. In fact, we know it will. But yeah, it's something that's it's something we're quite proud of, and as I say, a lot of people put a lot of work into it, and yeah, we embrace it. We will do a kind of I think on Monday we'll do a kind of a virtual huddle, won't we, Ryan? Just to welcome our man on board. Seeing as how we'll not be in the same room, but yeah, I think it's something that we'll all get excited about and help us, as I say, take us to that next level as well. So there we go, guys. Monday will be something to look forward to. But in the meantime, Celtic play St Johnstone McDermott Park on Sunday. And if you haven't already, we're going to implore you once more. This is the best ever deal, and it's helped us secure the best signing that we think we could have made in the window, and that's bringing Hamish on board. But £12 for 12 months, guys. Quality content, and the quality is going to rise even more. We think with the addition of Hamish. Jerry O'Ross saying best pod for putting punters' comments up as well. Well done, guys. Listen, it's how we learn, So it's we do. Welsh Paul coming in saying pity we're not allowed to subscribe. I'm not. I know I'm aware of you saying you can't subscribe, Paul. I'm not aware of any kind of background problems with that, Ryan. Are you aware of that at all? I don't know.
Just type it in. Use this link.
I don't know how.
CelticWay.co.uk/subscribe. I don't know if there's a problem with the website or that, but we'll look into that. But just keep on using that link, and we'll try and get that sorted.
Thanks for that, Welsh Paul. You're telling me something I don't know. We don't take to deal with that side of it. That's all done taken care of by other people. So hopefully you can get that sorted. Claire Best, she's already signed up. Yeah.
If you use that CelticWay.co.uk/subscribe, then it'll come up. I've used it on my Safari because I'm logged in, obviously, on my Chrome. So I've used the Safari, used that link, and it's given me the best value annual, which is £12 for 1 year. So if you just press subscribe and then click on that, then it should be able to get you going.
There we go. They're saying it's still coming up with £36. As I say, it's not my area of expertise, but
you need to refresh your browser or try a different browser as well. If you're trying Chrome, if you're maybe using Chrome, then try Safari or Internet Explorer or Firefox or whatever. But please do keep on trying because we really do appreciate it.
John Summers, it's a grand old team to pod for. It most certainly is. There you have it. So, guys, hopefully that will sort itself out and you get that deal sorted. Dennis Jameson, great. Cheers, boys. Great show. Thank you, Dennis, for that. Appreciate it. So, Marky's also saying if you delete cookies, then maybe that helps you too. Ryan's a bit more savvy about these things than myself. Welsh Paul saying he loves the show, boys. Thank you very much, Paul. Really appreciate that. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back Sunday. Post-match, pre-match and post-match, yeah?
So I'm just having some correspondence as well. So it says that it's $34.99, but it will charge you £12. I'm just getting information coming through. So even though it says $34.99, it will charge £12. If you just hold on a wee second, just so that everybody has the same. Everybody knows because the normal price is normally $34.99. But yeah, it will charge £12. So even though it says that, it will charge the other. So if you get subscribing, then £12 will come out of your bank rather than $34.99.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Ryan, and thank you for you guys for doing hitting that button and subscribing. So Claire Bess saying that's what happened with me and she's got it. So thanks, Claire, for that. And Welsh Paul, that's great. He'll do it now, and it'll only get better because we've got a man of quality coming on as well. And just raise the quality. Will bring the best out of myself and Ryan too. Looking forward to that. So yeah, indeed. An hour and 10 minutes. My goodness, there you have it. It's the quickest and best hour and 10 minutes of the day, in my opinion. Ryan, thank you so much. Stellar contribution as always. It's going to get even more stellar when there's a firm hand on the tiller from Monday onwards. Can't wait for that. I genuinely can't wait. It'll be excellent. As I say, I've never spoken to him or met him, so I'm looking forward to that more than anything. Ryan, can you put the link up again, please?
Just writing it into the com. Subscribe.
And
there you go.
Brown Warrior coming in saying, keep raising the bar, guys. We certainly try, Brown Warrior, and thanks for your contribution in the comment section. We do our best to read as many of them out as we can. And Ian Roy saying Hamish is going to be a great addition. We think so too. So, yeah, excellent. Guys, result dependent. I always say it. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Sunday pre and post match, and then we'll delve into the nitty gritty of Celtic playing at McDermott Park. I'll be there. If you haven't taken us up on this offer, please do. It's a Black Friday deal. We make no apologies for giving it big licks because it's our best ever deal, and we feel that from Monday onwards we're ratcheting it up a big notch. Hamish Carlton joining us. So Brown Warrior saying interaction is spot on. Thank you, Brown Warrior. Appreciate that. We all love to have our say on the club we love. We endeavour to provide journalism covering the club we love, top quality at that. And that's why we ask you to hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Costs you £12 for 12 months. It's a bargain. It's a brilliant deal. And we'll be sending out that message on our social media. You have until midnight tonight to take advantage of that. But as I say, with our news of our newest signing, we think it's well worth that. But have a great weekend. Ryan, thank you for today. Thank you for your help with the commenters and contributors as well, helping them get to the bottom of that deal too. Really, really kind and helpful advice, and appreciate that. Guys, it's our Christmas do today as well. So we'll be doing a bit of work and then out and about somewhere in town. If you're out and about somewhere in town and you see us, please don't hesitate to say hello and come up and have a chat. We appreciate that. Appreciate your subscription. I just appreciate everything that you do and help us run this channel as best as we can. We don't pay lip service to it. We are genuinely humbled by what we've set up here, and we, as I say, that's why we're proud of the signing we've made, and we try to take it on a notch. We can only
do these. We can only have these signings thanks to the subscriptions that we're getting, and we really do appreciate each and every one of you. We know that it's a really tough time, especially for money in this current climate. We really appreciate everybody that subscribes to the service. By doing that, you allow us to push further and raise the bar even higher with regard to our contributors, both the content on the site and the content on the video feed as well. So we thank everybody. If you haven't done so already and you're able to do so, then please subscribe to the Celtic Way. But we really do appreciate it, each and every single one of you, for subscribing to the service, because we're doing what we love and you're helping us do that. So we really do appreciate it.
I'm sure Hamish's ears are burning and his head's probably swelling, but for good reason. We appreciate it, and we welcome him on board, and we'll give him the big build up and welcome on Monday as well. We shall see you Sunday, guys, pre and post match. If you want to, feel free to join us. Give us your own tuppence worth. We'll endeavour to read it out. Claire saying, don't get too drunk. She works in A&E. Well, hopefully we won't see you, Claire, and I mean that in the best possible way. But yeah, we've been in good hands. I would imagine if some kind of trouble did before us. But thank you for that, and thank you for your interaction today, Claire. Nobody takes offence here to Andy's opinion. It's all good, isn't it? It's all good-natured, and we all care about the club we love. We just want to see them do well and be successful. That's what pulling in the same direction. Take care. We shall see you, as I say, on Sunday. Have a good weekend up until that point. Ryan, thank you. Thank you for everything, the help you gave people today as well. Appreciate it. All right.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Thank you once again, and we really do appreciate it.